Hey everyone, welcome to the Burnt Brass Homestead channel. Today, I am going to make whole wheat bread from scratch. I mean truly from scratch, using hard red winter wheat berries. You can also use hard red, hard white wheat berries, or a combination of both. Here's a look at the wheat berries in its original form. I'm going to use the Vitamix dry blender container to ground the wheat berries into flour to make one loaf of bread. Check out my video on various kitchen gadgets you can use to grind wheat berries. In that video, I go over several kitchen gadgets that work well and those that don't work at all. The difference between making whole wheat bread from home using freshly ground wheat berries versus store-bought is the use of the whole wheat berry, bran, germ, and endosperm. Store-bought bread removes the bran and germ but leaves the endosperm, which consists of starchy carbs. They then enrich the bread by adding in nutrients to replace what they had taken out. Here is what it looks like after grinding the wheat berries, freshly grounded. Now, this flour isn't as fine as store-bought because they take all the good stuff out. But as you can see, it's pretty fine, and all of the natural nutrients will be left in the flour to bake our bread. To proof the yeast, I am adding warm water. To that, I am adding some honey. Between 2 to 4 tablespoons, depending on your preference of how sweet you like the bread. And yeast. Mix that in a bit. And while that's proofing, I am going to prepare the dry ingredients. So this is the 4 cups of freshly ground wheat berries, winter wheat berries. To that I am adding 2 teaspoons of salt. Mix that in a bit. Today I'm going to use the KitchenAid to knead the bread, and I'll have that running for about 6 to 10 minutes while I actually complete another task in the kitchen. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of oil, The hard wheat berries are typically for bread making because of the high gluten content. The soft wheat berries are typically used to make pastries because they have a lower gluten content but higher starch content. There is the dough of the freshly ground wheat berries. Now this is all 100% whole grain, nothing taken out, nothing put in. You can play around with mixing your different flours if you want to, but this is just straight hard winter red wheat. I'm actually going to put the dough back into the glass KitchenAid container. I did lightly oil it, and I'm just going to put some plastic on top of it. So it's been a few hours, and here is how the dough looks. So I have 2 bread pans here, but honestly I think this is just enough for 1 loaf. I didn't do the I only did 4 cups, about 3 or 4 cups. So I'm only going to make the 1 loaf. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to let it rise a little bit, and then I will put it in the oven. to bake for about 30 to 35 minutes at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's the bread dough. I let it rise just a little bit. The bread is now going in the oven for about 35 minutes at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And here we are. The bread is done, just removed from the oven. So what I'm going to do is remove it from the bread pan and place it on a wire rack to cool. The bread is still a little warm, but I am going to cut into it. And look at that. Here's how it looks on the inside. And it bounces back. Let's put a nice piece of butter on here. I know it's a lot of butter, but this is typically what people do when they take that first piece of bread that they baked. They just enjoy it just like this. Here we go. Okay. This is really good, and this is what you call whole wheat, 100% whole wheat bread. And typically what you get in the store is after they ground it, they would sift it to get rid of the wheat germ and the shell. So this right here, it has everything in it. And then what they would do on top of that is put the nutrients back in the bread. But we didn't take anything out. So the wheat berries as a whole went into this bread. And this is basically how you make bread truly from scratch. Milling your own wheat berries, which stores for a very long time, which is why you want to get in the habit of cooking with your wheat berries if there's a concern of, flour not being available on the shelves for whatever reason. These wheat berries can store for, a few decades. If you want to know how to mill wheat berries, I will link a video. Yeah, so this is really good. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to help this small channel to grow.